Future State Aquaman issue 1, Brandon Thomas writing, Daniel Sampier on the art. And this is a Jackson story, but also an Andy story. And again, it's earlier than what we've seen of them in Justice League, where Andy's obviously a member of the Justice League. It's a little bit earlier than that, where Jackson's kind of being the protective uncle. He's sort of tasked with looking after her as she's doing her, and he calls it. I did get a chuckle out of him calling her Aqualass, and she said, "No, I'm Aquawoman. Do not call me Aqualass."
I was getting such Dick Grayson and Damian vibes off of their relationship.
Okay. I can see it.
You know, just like he knows she hates it, but he's like, I'm not gonna call you Andy in public. You're Aqualass.
A little bit less murdery, but yeah.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So,
and this is a nice art. You know, especially that first couple pages where he's fighting like the big sharks, and you know, the art's pretty decent enough. The story gets a little, I don't know, murky as it goes.
It gets a bit lost in the weeds.
Yeah,
because I was not expecting the places it went to, and like a ocean that connects worlds thing. So that was a little bit heady.
Early on, when I thought, okay, Jackson's been like held prisoner for a while by this evil, you know, underwater empire, whatever. And the idea is that he knows that Andy's coming to save him, and it's like, yeah, Andy's got me. Like you're screwed when she gets here. Like when it was kind of simple and like that, I was like, okay, this is a nice introduction to like how much of a badass Andy is, and her kind of maybe not quite full adult life yet, but this is maybe her Teen Titan phase kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, this is a nice little introduction. This is all right so far. Once I started getting to like, the ocean that connects all the different realms in the multiverse, and I was like, oh, okay.
and they're
I guess
they're hopping through different ones, and they're all ocean based, and I think, you know.
And what weirded me out as well, I was like, okay, they got stuck on this world, and you know he got taken prisoner, and she's coming to rescue. I'm still on board with all of this, and then there's the idea that they're like, oh my god, is she coming? Is she here? Like they know, like there's this legend of her, like I'm like, okay, now it's starting to lose me. Admittedly, that's the end of the issue, but that's a bad place to lose someone.
I'm okay with them like underestimating and like her coming up to save him, but we also have this weird thing where she cuts off her own leg so that so Jackson will let go, because one of the things protecting the ocean that connects all the multiverses is this giant sea creature / island.
It reminded me of the creature in New Frontier.
Sure,
you know?
Sure. It's presumably supposed to be their take on the the giant turtle.
Yes,
right.
Because that's clearly the general shape of it.
Some tentacles.
It's a very horrific take on the giant turtle protector, which is a classic thing.
And I do love whenever they whip out they make swords out of water and stuff like that. Like, I think all I really wanted from like an Aqua story, especially for dealing with Andy, right? All I really wanted was a solid introduction to what she's like, and I felt we got a nice bit of that in Justice League. Here, it started off being like that, but then kind of started going really weird with the concepts to the point where I'm just kind of like, okay.
I will credit to the art, the page where Jackson breaks free. I think that is an absolutely gorgeous page with all the red and the chains flashing around. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, and for as weird as the story gets, I like the message of it, where as he's basically they're kind of lording over him, that he's their prisoner and whatnot. And then as he starts to break the chains, he realizes like, oh, you guys only plan this for as strong as you think I am, but I'm actually a lot stronger than that. And that's what initially gets him to break free, knowing that Andy's coming. Like there's something about the relationship that I like there. That's he has to remember that's why he's there, is almost like to protect her, but it's gonna be swapped, because she's coming to save him, it seems. So there's just something about that I really did like, and the fact too that she seems to have both of her parents' things, like she can communicate with the sharks.
Well, more than that, because she corrects herself and says, she can control them outright. This is not just communicating, this is controlling them.
Right.
Well, I got the impression it was instead of communicating. Like, she can't just communicate and talk with them.
No, she just pulls the control of them. And then, too, she has the aqua or the water bending like her mom and Jackson.
Yeah.
which is real cool.
I wonder,
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something we'll get elaborated. I don't know when we'll get more Andy as in the future stories, because it feels like there's a lot of potential to do stuff with her.
Mm-hmm.
These were at the end of a lot of the issues, but there's a lot of like family 2-page spreads for Infinite Frontier and the Wonder Woman ones at the end of this, and it's just kind of nice to actually see you got Yara there along with Donna and Nubia. It's nice to have everyone kind of all the villains together. But anyway, yeah, so it's kind of a murky issue where I kind of like the characters in it, but I don't necessarily like what the story ends up doing.
Such a deep concept needed more time than 2 issues.
Yeah, this is just like this is something you build up to. This is like
this is your 30-issue run concept.
Yeah. This is what you build up to for your third trade of your Aquaman run. Is this crazy idea? But hey,
I can see this being a fantastic follow-up idea to what we just had at the start of Kelly Sue's run with the other place with all the gods, and building from that being okay. There's not just all the sea gods. There's a multiverse of seas essentially linked.
Which we kind of got with Drowned Earth.
Or maybe more so that one realm's the sea gods, but there's like we also have the 7 seas.
Realms.
So what if there's 7 seas, right? Literally 7 multiversal seas that connect all the multiverses. I don't know.
Right, but I can
That's...
see how this builds on what we've just had in Aquaman, but I feel like you need time to do this.
I think the reason why I said 7 is because I'm thinking like in Thor, how all the different realms you actually get to know them and learn them. So Jotunheim is one, and you don't understand giants, blah blah. Like
Nidavellir, and
you can do something with Aquaman where you've got 7 realms, 7 seas. Each one has its own thing.
Well, yeah, and John's kind of was hitting on that with back in New 52.
Well, that's never happening, Matt. So just
I know. So let someone else do it. It's a good idea. As I'm trying to give you credit.
I mean, to be fair,
thank you, Matt. I'll take the credit.
Jeez.
To be fair to Johns, he's kind of okay with people picking up his ideas and running with them.
Yeah.
That's he's quite happy to just leave stuff there for people. I mean, the ending of his Green Lantern, essentially, with the book is like, do what you want. Take some of these things, or don't. Do whatever. So if someone wants to take it, then go for it.
And I also really enjoyed the art. And I don't know if it's just the coloring or the art itself, but everything's super vibrant and the art's real sharp.
Yeah, like obviously we see Sampere a lot, and Adriana Lucas. I think that's a pretty common pairing to be the colors as well.
Yeah.
And I think we always like Sampere.
Yeah.
But I think this is probably the best work I've seen from.
I wasn't expecting it to look this great though, because like the stuff that we've seen has looked good, but I really, for me, the art here was the standout versus and story.
I think it might be the colors that really sell, because at the start, you've got like the bright natural earth colors, and then it shifts to the greens, and then you've got the reds that come in, and and then the deep red under the fight stuff at the end. Really doing a lot of the heavy lifting there, I think. But art is great.
But my favorite stuff was just like Jackson and Andy together at the early on when they were just training together or fighting simple things together. And I like the idea for her coming to save him, but like it went so wonky. But the idea that there's a legend of her and that she was left for dead, but Aquaman lives, like this has no meaning to me to put a big sign saying Aquaman lives in the water. Like you've not built up to this enough for it to have any effect.
This is only 6 years, because it tells us at the start. 6 years ago was when they flashed back to the first bit on on our Earth, I believe. So this is at most 5 or 6 years since the encounter with the turtle. So it's like that's not a long time for them to be this terrified that she's here. So how busy has she been?
Yeah. So yeah, but murky. Matt, what are you giving Aquaman?
I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
Carter?
That felt very generous. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Yeah, I'm thinking 6. I think the art and just liking the characters rises it up a little bit. I do think the story gets a bit too murky and high concept for what it has time to tell. So, yeah, I'll give it a 6. And I feel like I'm being slightly generous with the 6, but I've got some goodwill for some of the stuff here.